Okay, now this time took my glasses off, so I'm blind, but I need you to be able to reach in my eyes. Now, we made 2 videos on pepper spray. We're talking about taking a person's eyes out. And so first thing to start this off, I'm going to explain something. If you go to poke 1 finger, 2 fingers, or a whole hand, whatever, if you try to attack the person's eyes with rigid fingers, no curve in it, but straight, the problem here is that a lot of times, if you miss, if your fingers are rigid, then that stops them right there. Maybe not, but most of the time it's going to happen that way. So you want your fingers to be curved. And if they're curved, and if you miss, then if it's curved, then the momentum should carry you, more likely is going to carry you onto your target. So here, you bring your hand up. If your fingers are straight, again, straight, rigid. Okay, if you come at me and you miss, if you're a little bit off, then you're probably going to get stopped there. Okay, now curve your fingers. Okay, spread them a little bit. Get around my nose. Okay, now if they're curved and you miss, then the momentum is more likely to carry you to your target. Now, society conditions girls, women, whatever, to be dainty, to be girly, okay? Females need to decolonize their mind, okay? If you have that kind of thinking, that blonde thinking in here, you need to get that bullshit out of your head, because that shit will get you killed. When you go in, there's going to be fluid in here, okay? When you take someone's eye out, you're going to feel that squishy eyeball. You're going to feel that fluid from in there. You can't let that bother you, okay? You need to get your hands. You need to get your hands all the way inside of there, okay? From wherever. Get it behind that eyeball and pull that eyeball out. That eyeball, 1, 2, whatever, is going to be dangling here. If their eyeball is hanging out here, they're not going to be thinking about molesting you. They're going to be thinking about, what the fuck am I going to do now? Okay, now in that case, if you need to know, you take a cup, something like that, all right, hold it over, get the eyeball back up here, hold something so that dirt doesn't get into it. You can get them to the ER then, and they can get their eye put back in socket. If you learn to incapacitate someone, then you also need to learn how to take care of that person. All right, now another thing that you can do, that isn't fatal. You could blind them for life. You could take their eyeball out and just squish it, okay? But now this next thing that I'll show you, this is lethal, or could be. Okay, now the windpipe, the trachea, right here. All it takes to crush this windpipe is about 7 pounds of pressure, which is on average approximately what a woman uses, the amount of strength a woman uses to shake someone's hand. It's not that much. Okay, but if you just come straight at it like this and try to squeeze right away, you might make them cough. You're probably going to miss it. What you need to do is you need to go up and in. Okay, don't just try to put your fingers together right away. Get up in here, high, up into here, okay, and after you get far enough back, then put your hands together. Come with me. Okay, remember, go up first and then try to bring your fingers together. Now what happens when you crush that trachea is that the pieces of that trachea break and they fall like this. If you have air in your lungs and you exhale, then those little pieces will come up, the air will push them up, you exhale, and as soon as you're done with your exhalation, they fall back over the top. When you try to inhale, the air is on top of it, it can't, and so they suffocate. The only way to save a person, and it's important to learn these parts too. The only way to save a person is that you have to go into here, right in here, that soft spot, immediately. You have to cut in through here, you have to cut into the windpipe below where it was broken, and you have to get some kind of a tube in there and then hold it close on there. Try to keep dirt from getting in there so that they can breathe, and you rush them to the hospital for an emergency tracheotomy. Otherwise, really quick, they suffocate and they die. But you need to know these things when you're defending yourself. All right? And another thing, if you weren't able to prevent this from happening, if you weren't able to stop this attack, if you're this close to your attacker, if you have the opportunity, this artery right here, reach up and feel it, identify that, okay? If you're this close, then you bite this artery. You try to bite through it and kill them. It's better that the attacker dies than the victim or would-be victim dies. Okay, you can deal with, the courtroom, whatever, later because you're alive. If you get raped and if you get killed, that's it. There's end of story. Okay, now, if you're that close and if you reach over and you bite them just hard enough to stop the blood from going to their brain, then they're going to pass out. And then as soon as you take your mouth off of there, they're out, just for a moment, but they're out. You have a chance to get away. But if the situation warrants it, then you get your mouth on there and you try to bite through there. And if you bite through there, then they bleed to death. These are just realities that you need to think about, and you need, as a female, you need to recondition your thinking. Now, one more thing, and it's a little awkward for someone like me to tell his daughter, and when I told her the first time, she made all kind of faces, but here's another reality. If you get assaulted, raped, attacked, whatever you want to call it, and the male makes you go down on him or put his his penis, whatever you want to call it, into your mouth, if you're at that point, then what you do then is you bite down on it as hard as you can, tilt your head a little bit and turn it. Don't go straight back because you might just hurt him and lose it, but get a good hold on that thing and as hard as you can, bite right through it. Turn your head as you're biting and try your best to bite the head off. And then I guarantee you, after you do that, you're going to have plenty of opportunity to take off. Now, those are gruesome realities, but you have to understand that rape, sexual assault are gruesome realities. If you're faced with aggression, you have to respond with aggression. When you find yourself in a violent situation, the only way out is through violence. You have to be just as violent, if not more violent, than the person who attacked you. Because more than likely, if a man sexually assaults a little girl, he's not going to be done after he completes his assault. He's not going to want to be known. He's not going to want to be caught. More than likely, he's going to kill that little girl. I don't know what the statistics are, but common sense tells me that more than likely, when he's done, that's what he's going to do. It's actually very easy for a little girl to kill a man. You'd be surprised how easy that is. If you're in a violent situation, you have to be violent. You can't hesitate. You have to act right now. And you have to take your attacker out. You can't approach this in a way that, well, I only want to dissuade him. I only want to hurt him so I can get away. You need to make sure 101% that asshole is not able to come after you. That's the only way for you to escape, and that's how you have to think in this day and age.